Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. They can get you the best security system available for your home, for your office, from equipment to contracts. Oh, much better than the national companies. Safety Systems, those are the folks to call. Reach out to VFL JJ Surlis this week. Okay, if this round of expansion is over, and we'll see if it is, who won this round? Let me go ahead and put up a graphic for you just to break it down. The Big Ten, they're adding USC and UCLA. Those are big brands, but boy, they're on the other side of the country. New TV deals that they just signed, though, $7 billion over 7 years. They got the noon game on Fox. They got the 3:30 game on CBS that the SEC used to have. They got a 7:30 primetime on NBC, plus streaming in the Big Ten Network. The SEC, they're a little bit more geographical sense, I suppose, adding big brands in Oklahoma and Texas. Their new TV deal, only $3 billion over 10 years, but that's on top of an existing deal. They're still going to make less money than the Big Ten. ABC is going to get a late afternoon game. We don't know what time. Everything else is ESPN. Now, they could stick an ABC game there at 8 o'clock if they want, now an SEC game there, but they've got the ACC and Big 12 to mix through there as well. Plus streaming, you have a lot of ESPN Plus and SEC Network. Okay, Jimmy, I'll start with you. Who won this round? It kind of depends on, are you looking at it from a business sense, who's better off TV and money, or are you looking at it from somewhat of a map? You know, Oklahoma, Texas are closer than UCLA, USC. Who won this round?
It's hard to gauge that. I'm going to go the SEC, and a part of my rationale is this, and I'm considering fans in this. The travel's a part of it, right? And who from Southern Cal is going to go watch them play Rutgers? I don't see that. I see more compelling, attractive matchups with the SEC than I do with the Big Ten adding USC and UCLA and then the travel that's involved. I'm going to go SEC, but by a slight margin.
I think they won the TV aspect, though. I'd rather have three big games on the big networks where I know where they are instead of everything jammed onto ESPN. We saw it a couple times last year where, due to baseball playoffs or basketball playoffs, they're sticking the SEC higher up in the day because, well, we got baseball at night. Well, now you're adding more games that you're going to have to be moving around to bad time slots. Josh, your thoughts? Who won this thing?
So I do think the SEC has better games. They're going to have better football. They're going to have better players. So they'll be better on the field. But I don't think this was about that. I think it was about getting more money. And the footprint expansion, I guess, comes with that. So you get the LA aspect. They'll be more interested in the Big Ten. How much, I still don't know. But
Big Ten now goes from New York to LA. They're every time.
Yeah, but they're doing this for money. So the Big Ten won the round for the goal. The SEC will still win more football games.
They also get to renegotiate their deal again before the SEC finally gets to negotiate theirs. Ryan, who won this round?
I agree with Josh. I think the Big Ten won this round in the sense that it's a fight now. I think before it wasn't. I think the SEC was clearly head and shoulders above everybody else in the college football world, looking at just that sport. But now there's at least a discussion. Next time around, does the Big Ten add somebody that makes it even more interesting? You know, now there's a little bit more of a fight. Texas and Oklahoma make the SEC that much stronger, but you can now have the TV deal to sell. You've got a much stronger football conference with USC in there. I think it's at least a more interesting fight, and then the TV setup is very good for the Big Ten.
Does somebody at some point go to 20 schools? Because the Big Ten looks at that AAU thing, the American Association of Universities. They want those type schools. Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Utah. Those are all those types of schools. You got Notre Dame floating around out there too, if they ever got forced into something. But you could add a Western division. If you added a Western division, then the Big Ten, I think, can really load up. But I'm going to go. It is about the money. I was going to say Big Ten, but the more I think about it, Greg Sankey made an interesting comment. When the Big Ten announced this, Sankey's comment was something to the effect of, we're going to continue to try and grow our revenue in a sustainable manner that makes sense for the good of our league. It almost came across as, in parentheses, because USC and UCLA ain't going to stick around. It was almost like that is not going to work due to travel.
Yeah.
Because of that, I do think the SEC, now, the other side to that, of course, is Texas has never met a conference it couldn't ruin and blow up and drive people away from. So we'll see. Let me ask you one last quick question on this. It's fascinating. When you look at the SEC, they have added 4 founding members of the Big 12. If not for the ACC's locked-in television contract, would the SEC, if given their druthers, not have added Carolina, Clemson, Florida State, and Virginia Tech from the ACC, as opposed to Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and A&M. Now, A&M's a perfect fit, but because that's an SEC school, should have been all along. They're crazy. They fit. But don't you think if the SEC if there weren't TV contracts in play, don't you think they'd have gone east instead of going west? Or no?
I don't know. I think it's not just about TV deals for sure, but that's a big part of it. But I think there are multiple reasons that the Texas angle, Oklahoma, all that makes some sense. I could have seen it working out either way if you take out the TV side, but it's an interesting discussion. I mean, Virginia Tech is always a good fit. I thought culturally in a lot of ways too. Maybe not now that they've fallen off the map a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some good fits east too. I just think now that they've gone west, Texas and Oklahoma are good. It makes a lot of sense.
Clemson, Florida State would be a good fit. I think Virginia Tech would be a good fit. I don't know about North Carolina, but that's the flagship program.
But you're not expanding your TV revenue to that degree.
Oh,
which
certainly,
is,
certainly.
yeah.
But I'm just
But
talking about well, it's changed every round, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Arkansas and South Carolina, they just wanted to get 12 teams so they could go to tournaments.
Yeah.
They got so they go to championship games. They got geographical teams that made sense. Then the next round, it was we got to get new territory because of the cable thing.
Right.
And then the next one was no, we just need better inventory for our next television deal.
Yeah.
So every step of the way, it's been about something else, which is why it's hard to judge. But yes, in terms of territory, they conquered more. Well, you could have added North Carolina and Virginia as opposed to Missouri and Texas and Oklahoma.
I remember when thinking on my own about who I'd want to add, I wasn't going with Oklahoma.
Right, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
That's too far away. You want Virginia Tech or you want Clemson.
Was
is
it
what I saying.
Schiller or Kramer that had the long ago, there was always the discussion that he would love to have the states of the old Confederacy, which would not be kosher these days, but Virginia, North Carolina in there, Texas in there. I've always heard that one of those commissioners had a map somewhere that was like, wouldn't it be great to have North Carolina, Virginia school, Texas school in here?
I don't know, but that commissioner would not admit it now.
Wouldn't admit it.
One more point I was going to say on your original question. I think if you throw in schools outside of or sports outside of football, the SEC wins this round because to me that's where the Big Ten loses. Nobody cares about traveling coast to coast for baseball and other sports. I just think that's too hard.
Well, and UCLA and USC don't even pack their own stadium as is.
Yeah.
So they're not going to bring anybody anywhere. Josh, last statement, anything?
Yeah, if you remove the TV contract money stuff and get to what the fans care about, the games and the rivalries, I think Florida State, Miami, the Carolina schools, like there's a hatred of Clemson because they recruit against the same schools in ACC and SEC. So I think that would be the more natural fit from a football standpoint.
Clemson's Auburn with a lake. They belong too.
Yep.
So, all right. When we come, we're going to be talking about expansion all summer long. I love it. Fans eat it up, and it's easy for us. When we come back, what should the SEC do about the SEC championship game and the SEC tournament? Should they move them around now because you're moving west? Should those fans be given something, a little taste? We'll discuss that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.